Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Getting a little set up here. Give me a beat. Hoda, good to see you, bud. Don't want to have you come on sometime soon. We need to sort something out. I'll stay up late. I'll wake up early. I'll set the kids up with some TV or something. So if you're available at some point, like Fridays are great, but I know you work, so I'm happy to try and be flexible. If it's nighttime, if it's Saturday, even some Sundays I could probably do. Let's try and sort something out. I'd really love to have you come on. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can. I don't know if I can feature comments. I want to, but I don't know if I can. And bear with me for a beat while I check pop out. Doing it. Oh. Do that later. Okay, so I can't feature comments right now. Okay. How's everybody doing? What's new? It's good to see you. Good to be here. Man, that town hall. The town hall was exciting. Matt talking about, like, the comment was like, why should people play your game? And why should people be excited about your community? And really concise and clear communication on the value proposition of what Splinterlands is. Essentially arguing, and Nate following up really well as well. Articulating the main value proposition is that this game rewards you for your time and attention like no other game ever has, and that's revolutionary in nature. Those are my words, but Matt said that in his own way. It's like, and it's remarkable that in 2024 people don't understand that they've been near Splinterlands and yet don't get that, or that they haven't seen that. I think maybe if you're here and you don't see that, I just think maybe you're not paying attention. Because to receive any asset that is literally financially saleable, transferable, rentable, and not acknowledge that is so different than anything you've ever seen. And don't give me, Call of Duty allowed me to sell this one knife or whatever. There was no sustainable and long-going and decentralized expression of what this is ever. There are examples on, whether it's D3 had a marketplace where you could sell your assets, or D2 you could sell your account on eBay. Those are not user friendly. Even the marketplace on D3, it existed for like a year and then they pulled it because Diablo didn't like the idea of sharing reward. Like if there's a marketplace where John Doe can buy an asset from Jane Doe, then John Doe doesn't need to play the game as much. That was their thinking. And that's the upside down perspective of traditional gaming as compared to blockchain based video gaming, which has the cooperative vision of you'll be excited to play it even more, not just if it's fun. Yes, it needs to be fun. And he said that it's got to be dialed in, the entertainment, all of that needs to be dialed in. And we're still getting that dialed in. But beyond that, to see that there's a reward potential for your assets, for your time and effort matter, man. Like when we get SPS per win, and then that SPS unlocks a certain voice in the direction of and development of the game, or allows you to earn more reward for the same amount of time and effort. These are meaningful rewards. And then you get more glint from your SPS bag growing, and that glint translates to card assets, and those assets themselves may be non-transferable initially, are unlockable eventually and transferable through that mechanism. And some people hate that. They're never gonna, okay. You don't like how it rewards you. That's okay. But it does reward you. And that is so unique and so different than any other game that has ever existed. And I'm including games that have some mechanism through which you sell, because this is integrated. It's not just integrated, it's core to the game mechanic. I've talked about the game within the game in Splinterlands. And what I meant was that understanding how you win is of course part of this game. You need to know which cards to put into any sort of any sort of function. Here I'm playing one of my guild brawls. I'm in Gold League. I've got Alpha Beta Untames that are available. And so I won this against Steam at Romney, and he's an OG with a significant power. But I played the right cards in the right context, and we pulled it out. And so it's absolutely a thoughtful, collectible card game with an auto brawler mechanic, which necessitates your comprehension in order to really, for you to thrive. But beyond that, in a major way, this game is awesome because it's not just that. It's not just selecting the right cards, putting in the right order, and then hoping you win. It's so much more. It's deciding to buy the level 6 shield bearer because you play in gold phrase. I actually have a level 8 gold shield bearer. But in my point, if I'm going to play in gold, I want to build my deck so that it thrives in gold. If I'm going to play in diamond, I want to build my deck so it thrives in diamond. I want to understand the synergies of certain cards. This is no longer just the collection and then the implement. It's no longer just the implementation of the cards. It's the collection of the cards. And then beyond that, understanding the dynamics of you only have limited resources and you need to stretch it across a wide variety of in-game assets that might have varying impacts on your success rate. And so navigating all of that is the game and the game within the game. And so the complexity is far greater than some understand. When they look at Splinterlands, they think it's simplistic, but that bigger picture is why this is so exciting. It has this multi-layered, entertainment value, and then tied within that multi-layered, not at one level, but at every level, this fully integrated system of reward that you can benefit from and be benefitor of or beneficiary of the time and effort you play. It's not just your favorite game that gets $80 when you buy the game and then $10 or $20 every time you buy your season pass or your expansions pack. But in fact, when you buy a $5 pack of Rebellion cards, you get 5 assets that are in that are yours forever. You can rent or sell or burn or whatever, and you can use them to help you win more, etc. I know you know this, but it was so powerful to hear Matt and later Nate speak into this, because people are coming to the town hall asking questions like, why should somebody play your game? And I go, I don't know how you don't know that if you're here in the town hall. But I love that somebody who was in the town hall and didn't know that felt the need to ask it and to speak, and had the opportunity to ask it, because even that's cool and revolutionary. The exposure and connectivity we have, not just with the team, but with the community. Things like town halls create connectivity, and often we've seen this like bubbling up of good ideas, and that's part of how the decentralized DAO ownership and control will be, across a long time horizon, really powerful too, because the centralization of design, the 2 heads better than 1 type thing, leading to the best visions coming forward, hopefully, like presumably. And we'll see. Time will tell. But that's part of my vision for why I love this game, and I think you know that. But it's always good to restate that. And then it's really awesome and exciting to have heard that in the town hall yesterday. Let's say hello to the chat and see what's going on. Dehoda, thanks for coming, bud. King Arminius, thanks for popping by. You were in the members live before this. Dehoda saying hi to King Arminius. Gathering, long time no see. I think you must be referring to, long time no see gathering. He was just in the members live a minute ago, or 12 minutes ago. Alex, looks like my market predictions were right. Once again, I'm so good. General crypto market predictions. Alex, were you saying? I'm not sure what you were saying, to be honest. So, okay. You'll have to elaborate on that if you want me to, I guess, dive deeper on what your predictions were. Bananas, good to see you, pal. And William Pipkin. William, long time, been around forever. Bananas, so many comments recently over the last 6 months probably. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for hanging out today. Thank you for popping by and talking Splinterlands. This is an exciting moment, like with with the rate. I don't know. I don't exactly know how to pull apart the economic considerations and then apply them to the crypto space. But it was pretty interesting to see the Fed come out and lower by 50 basis points on Wednesday, I think. And then on Thursday, we had Bitcoin shoot up, and you know, we went up from, I think it was 58,000 to 64 or something like that. Pretty awesome stuff. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I get the feeling, and I hope I'm right, that lower interest rates mean greater access to borrowing power and more desirability in borrowing, and therefore greater money liquidity sloshing around in the risk on assets, things like equities as well as crypto. So things like, and then gold and silver seem to be benefiting too, because people recognize that long term this means more and more inflation. And so it just feels like everything is going upward right now. I don't know if that's long term sustainable. In fact, I think long term it isn't. I think at some point, you know, there's a major decline. But in this moment, pretty exciting to see, and pretty exciting to imagine what this will mean for crypto across the next months. I do think you can expect to see greater, you'll see things like increased corporate debt, which is borrowing to buy back stocks, to drive up stock prices, to drive up their the people's perspective upon their company in the equities markets, and then it drives more investment, and that itself is this self-fulfilling prophecy for those tokens tick up, those assets tick up, and ultimately then there's greater wealth to draw upon to buy into riskier and riskier things. I think that's what I'm seeing, and I'm expecting over the next months and weeks, until such time that essentially, in my mind, you know, the Fed has to go to zero, because, you know, things are not as rosy as they're making it seem. Regardless, in the meantime, I expect to see a real altcoin season, and if so, to watch Splinterlands, enjoy that. That would be my hope and expectation. I think it's probably your guys' hope and expectation as well. I did have a couple comments or video ideas that I wanted to get into, and I'm happy to chat about whatever you guys are curious about or whatever. But the new promo cards, I haven't talked about them yet. I got the images. I wonder, they might be in Discord. If they're in Discord, can somebody tell me? Or can somebody send me the video, the pictures in Discord? I have them on my phone, and I'm looking at them here. Or it will be in a second. But I don't want to look at it on my little tiny screen. No. There it is. So I'm going to just quickly send it to myself. There. Okay, so I just sent it to myself. I'm going to open up my own Gmail. That way I'll just have access to them. And I want to talk about these two promo cards, these new ones, the next ones to come. They might even be available to look at on the promo page. I haven't checked. Load, download. So, boom. And boom. Okay. Good night. Boom. I'm gonna go like this. Go to my own Discord. There. So now I can show. Night Stalker looks pretty awesome to me. Which one do you guys think looked better of the two? And remember that the second promo card, Matt said that Delia probably has a buff coming. In fact, that he mentioned that it probably has backfire. He didn't sound 100% certain about that. Does anybody know for a fact, like, was there some action on Twitter that you guys read, or maybe on Discord, where they revealed it separately and showed it with the additional fourth ability? Because he said specifically after Matt revealed it, or sorry, Matt said specifically after Nate revealed it, that actually there was a fourth ability. We wanted to make sure that at level 4, it's even more powerful. They wanted to buff it at the high league levels because they've heard some feedback with respect to the first promo cards that maybe they're exciting at lower levels, and that's not necessarily the best choice for greater sales, which makes sense. If a card is exceptional at the highest league level, it should be in my mind, the best card would be designed in such a way where at bronze it's awesome and you want it and it offers something really special. But then at silver, it offers something different, and that's unique and really special. And then at gold, it's, at every level, it does that. And if it did that, the people who would want it at silver would see value in buying it for just the 1 or 2 copies. And it's gold and at diamond. And so, as opposed to me at champion or diamond being okay with having a silver level card because it frankly doesn't offer anything else. That one example that recently for me is... I think it's the exclusive one. Yeah, the Mana Warden. I feel this card is great. I actually am interested in it. If you got it at max level, 4 damage. The impede is interesting. The piercing I think is at the max level. I think you get impede at level 4 or something like that. But you get Shield Warden at level 1. Shield Ward is really great. It's an amazing ability. I've been using it a lot lately. And I think it's effective and it's powerful and it's interesting and it's like a new way to tweak some of the old approaches that you might have been implementing on your fire team or your life team. So I love this card and I use it a lot. Yeah, there it is. You get Shield Ward at level 1, you get Impede at level 4, and you get Piercing at level 10. Piercing is cool. Impede is cool. These are not as important as Shield Ward is. Shield Ward is the reason this card is awesome. This card is awesome with I like him with Zenith Monk. The other day I played him with Coral Lurker, because you use Coral Lurker as an evasive taunt monster in a melee from any position situation. And with the fire team, by the way, with the fire team I use Wrath. I use Squirrel to give all my monsters flight. And then what happens is Coral Lurker has flight and dodge and phase, which is great. Brings some swiftness. And then I bring Mana Warden and put him behind the Coral Lurker, and now my Coral Lurker has shield as well. And so that's just one example, but I'm saying that a card like this is uniquely powerful at even level 1. Now I personally upgraded it, I think, to level 4 or 3 or something. No, 3, because I don't care about the impede, and it's a lot more BCX to get into the higher levels. And I really do care about Shield Ward and I think 3 melee damage. 3 melee damage comes at level 2 or 3 or something. So my point is certain cards are awesome out the gate and maybe less exciting at deeper BCX purchase levels. And that's maybe a bit of a design flaw. I had to be critical on Mana Warden. It's best, or the most impact it's going to have is from that Shield Ward. Even if you get it maxed out, which is great, at 4 damage, 4 speed, 6 hit points. Yeah, that's cool. But it doesn't intrinsically have reach. And so it's fairly niche. It's, in my mind, the card's greatest power is the utility of Shield Ward. And I will use that in a variety of contexts, irrespective, like despite it not having any meaningful damage, even if it had no damage. Because if I play this with Drath and I put Coral Lurker in the first spot, I will not, in the second spot, Mana Warden will not punch because he doesn't have reach. Only in, in a rule set that gives it reach or whatever. And so you see my point. I will play this card for its utility, its support utility, regardless of its damage contribution. And because of how it was designed. If Shield Ward was a higher ability, released at level 6 or level 5 or something, I would buy more BCX to get it. Because to me, Impede is cool, Piercing is cool, the damage is cool, but it's not as desirable at 400. I would want, to me, if I was going to spend 400 BCX or buy 400 BCX of a card like this, the kit would need to include reach. then it suddenly makes so much logical reason to buy it. And you might argue, well, you just put a flank monster in front of it. Sure, but some of the best cards that you could partner this with are not flank monsters. I just gave you 2 examples. Zenith Monk, which really benefits from a shield, and Coral Lurker. Those are 2 examples, but there's a million others. And another one I like to use them with is the, what's that retaliating? It's a retaliating, you know what, let's just split up. It's on the fire team. It's a melee monster. I think it's Chaos Legion. I think it's epic. Yeah, Forgotten One. Forgotten One with shield is great. Like, that's a huge buff to this guy. And so, circling back, my point on the promos and any card is that if it's designed in the maximum efficiency would be where the best abilities are at the highest levels. But at every level you're desiring it, people want it. Not just a diamond. It's not like save all the goodies for diamond. Give it goodies that make it exciting, but then give it even more goodies. So if I was to tweak this card to make it more like that, you could keep the abilities in the same way, but then you need to improve the stats at the highest level. Maybe give it reach would be one way, or you could give it 3 more hit points would probably be necessary in my opinion, or you know, 1 more damage output. That's a huge buff I'm talking about. But I'm saying a diamond, I don't care. I don't need this. And so I would need a huge buff to want to buy 370 more BCX of this card. That's what I'm talking about. 30 copies is fine for me. If I was going to buy 370 more copies, I would need it to have a really substantial buff. I don't see it as being meaningful at this level unless you're just looking from shield. So that's just a deep dive on Mana Warden. But the same conversation goes for the for Delia, and that's why they want to add that 4th ability. So I'm going to look at the chat and see if you guys mentioned anything about any sort of sources on the Delia. There may be a picture on X or a picture on Discord or a picture on official announcements or something like that, or even actually go to here first or do that. I want to talk about these promo cards more. I think it's Legends. Yeah, it's not out yet. Tuesday we're gonna see the launch of it, and it'll be like this, I guess. How's the leaderboard going for the event? So we're up to 100 million almost. It's not gonna do 150, is it? I liked what Matt said in the town hall yesterday about the promo sales. You know, this is a reasonable amount of sell pressure or buy pressure for the first phase, and the first phase isn't over. I think, looking at the new promo cards, Delia, this one is far more exciting with the blast damage, which is always awesome and always welcome. And then the execute, which to me could get crazy. Can you imagine you're sneak attacking? Sneak attack for 4 is huge for 4 mana. Like, that's a really good right there for just sneak. 4 speed, 4 hit point, 4 damage, 4 mana, 5. That was a kit. I would want the card. Add in blast. You're affecting 2 monsters in the rear. Add in execute. It's conceivable that you might proc and execute on either of those 2 cards. That's crazy. It's conceivable that you might proc in so doing. Think about this. Your Night Stalker sneak attacks, successful hits. Maybe you use a cane to do an ambush, by the way, with Night Stalker, and you do that. And then you hit in the first round. So by the first round, you hit twice for 6 damage. 4 on the rear, and 2 on the adjacent, and then 4 on the rear and 2 on the adjacent by the first round with an ambush installed by a cane. And then that probably procs and execute, I would think. A lot of times it will. And then that execute will do blast damage. And that execute with its blast damage could proc another execute. Maybe. I actually don't know if the mechanic of that ability will work in that fashion, but you could imagine that being crazy. In fact, they might need to look at that if that's what's happening, because this could get out of hand, is what I'm saying, real fast. This to me looks like an amazing card, and the 4 damage is actually perfect because you don't want to get force field down to 1. 4 is For this mana, for this kit, 4 is awesome. I wouldn't want it to have 5. This is an amazing card, and I'm way excited about it. And so my point is, Delia, let's first of all, I'm less excited about it. Archery with no close range, but the double strike's cool. And then the 4, and like it just said, not going to be force field down. Neutral is pretty awesome. So I like this card too. But for 9 mana, you know, that's going to fall into sort of the niche category of like higher mana matches and maybe archery only. The amp is, maybe you would use it with return fire monsters, and you'd get the amp to like increase the return fire. I could see usefulness to it for sure. I like the kit, and you can put it in the back with the back, or with the dodge, and I think backfire is supposed to come in there, and it's got relatively good speed. I like this card, but it's by no means as good as this card. And so these are great, and my point in focusing on those for a moment is to come back to the sale and leaderboard and say I could imagine the second round being better than the first round, and you could imagine some of these rounds having crazy cards that are these are pushing the envelope in terms of power creep. You have to say that, and if you admit that, then you have to acknowledge that the credits and DEC spent could grow significantly in certain phases and maybe less significantly in other phases, and lead us to a place of profitability across the fullness of the promo sale. Let's leave that promo conversation there, unless you guys have some more comments. Maybe you guys think I'm wrong about these cards and their abilities and their intrigue, whether they will drive more sales than the first. Maybe you think that the promo sales are doomed for sort of non-profitability because you don't think that the second, third, fourth, fifth sales will generate substantial revenue. I'm also excited to see not just the regular promo sales, but the final promo sale, which is going to be auction. That's going to be fun. And wanting to get that first one will be cool, won't it? I would love to see if I could get like maybe the 12th one, something like that. You know what I mean? So there'll be ways that you'll have your favorite number 23 or 10 or whatever. Top 10 might be particularly valuable because I think they're going to be mint numbers associated with them. They talked about that in a town hall. These promo cards are awesome, exciting, and this is cool. And I am personally hyped about that next sneak attack blast fire monster and all the partnerships that are possible with death and fire, and some of the and dragon too, right? Because dragon can enable either. So I love it. What do you guys think? I'll throw on a battle before I read some comments here. On to battles. The leaderboard. Let's see what the leaderboard's doing lately. Oh, there's Bugtis and Orcus. Okay, top battles. Ithaka versus Vugtis. Go. Well, I'll throw this one on visually so you guys can look at that while I'm reading some comments. This card. Everyone's playing this card, man. The Thorns, I guess, hey? Is that what it is? I don't have it, so I don't and I saw the price point yesterday, $36, but I don't want to get distracted on that right now. And maybe we should talk about the new summoner that just released too, because the price points and maybe where that's going to go. But let me go to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Alex, I make so many videos, dude. Yeah, he said you made a video about it, you forgot. Lol. I make so many videos, and I have 3 children, and I have a wife, and I have a full-time job that I'm not currently working, but I'm still thinking about, and so apologies, Alex. Bananas, thanks for consistently making great content. Thanks for being so positive most of the time. Yeah, man, I appreciate that, Bananas. I really do strive to be positive, even in the middle of great sort of, let's say, nitpicking or difficulty. Because, people, tensions get high, and I have no interest in fighting with people. I do want to challenge ideas in hopefully a thoughtful way that is respectful. And when that's possible, I want to do it. And when it's not possible, I still want to try to do it. Do you know what I mean? Thank you, Bananas. You're awesome. I really appreciate you. Alex says, I think it's a red flag that someone asked about the new player experience, and Matt said they were working on making a site mobile friendly. I wonder why you say that. And then you would go on to say, specifically, someone asked about the tutorial, and Matt started talking about making the site mobile friendly. Huh. I do remember that roughly. Like it didn't kind of sit with me as much as maybe it sounds like it did with you, Alex. I guess my gut reaction to what maybe the concern you're expressing is that I think I would hope that we do make the site mobile friendly, and that in so doing we make it that should be a big piece about the new player experience. Meaning like new players who don't necessarily have a $1,000 desktop computer should be able to play this with ease on their mobile phone. If they do, we're opening the gates to millions, billions of people in the world that don't have desktops but do have smartphones. And so I do think that's a meaningful piece of the conversation. Maybe what you're saying is it's only a piece of the conversation, and like, why don't we talk more about the broader picture of, for instance, a tutorial and the fullness of how we will onboard and educate new players. And that's that's fair criticism. You're right. Like, because it's not just about having a mobile experience that works. It's about having it, but that is part of it. And so, yeah, maybe that's what I would say. And Gathering went on to say, still want to know exactly what the new player experience involves. Yeah, and Alex agrees. Don't get me wrong, I think having a mobile-friendly site is key, but what happened to the project Nate was working on, the new player tutorial? I think they're still doing that. They just add a few help pages, and that's the tutorial. I think the plan is, okay, I'm a bit on a limb here, because I don't really know, and as not being a new player, I haven't particularly paid attention to this, but I do recall them talking generally about one of the complications around this is that you want to make it timeless. Any sort of piece of advice or help that you might give to the player base will be impaired by its comprehension will be impaired by the relatability of the assets displayed. So imagine this is one of your battles that it is formed in a tutorial. First of all, you might say they're too high level for the average player base to enjoy and receive value from. That would be one criticism. Another is that you're featuring some gold foil, some regular foil. Is that going to be confusing? A third would be some of these cards are like untamed and older. This is a beta, I think. Does that confuse the player base? Should it be modern cards only because they're going to be the most understood assets visually for the players that are enjoying the game or enjoying the tutorial? And so this is a consideration, and this is a bit of the complexity of the consideration that I know the team has already expressed that they're struggling with. And so I don't know if that means that's not an excuse to say therefore they can't do it and they're not going to do it and they don't know how to do it. I'm just saying this is a piece that they're thinking through, and that is weighing on the execution of a meaningful tutorial. Now, they still can and should figure out a way, period. And so you're right, they need to. And I think they have started. I don't know that they have. I almost should like create an account. I think I might do this. Like this week, I'll just create a new account and just see what that looks like. And maybe I'll see new things and I can report on it with a video. Because you're right. You're just like, I'm not arguing with you at all. You're right. They need that player tutorial to be attractive, compelling, helpful, meaningfully helpful. And I don't know that that's the reality in this moment. So I do think that's still a priority. I don't know where that rests on the priority list. And I do think they've made some progress in this, but I can't actually point you to success or the progress in it because I haven't actually dived into it. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that. Thanks, Alex. William, Cryptomancer is a guy quietly working on the big projects in the background. He's slaying the next phase of Land Dragon. This may be maybe the land low. It's definitely not a popular topic. William, I would be inclined to agree with you. But I think generally speaking, this idea that you're pointing to, which is that in this moment of sentiment being really under, in the dumps, because it is, with SPS being at, 7/10 of a penny, as opposed to, 5 cents, 4 cents, whatever it was, not fairly recently. Sentiment is still in the crapper. And so for that, because of that, I think everything is being slept on. I think validator nodes, even though they just announced that they're codes being released and this thing's actually moving forward is being slept on. I think vouchers are being slept on. I think chaos cards are being slept on. I think alpha, beta, promo, some of the old cards are being slept on. I think land is being slept on. I think right now we're feeling as though we're being kicked while we're down with token prices having been in the lows that they are, even though SPS has ticked up from 0.4 of a penny to 0.7 of a penny, almost 0.8 of a penny. And it seems to be trending up, which is great. But we're feeling down. And in the middle of this moment, you know, there's so many things our collective community desire that they can't all be executed. Land be among them. Land, we need to have land, but land 2.0 is a ways off. One thing that was cool from the town hall yesterday, Matt said, you guys who are here are going to be OGs in the sense that you'll one day be able to say, I was here before land 2.0. And that he is speculating and I think hoping that that'll be this moment in the sand that will really transform what this is. It will, because items and spells. It will, because player base, I think financial, sort of the rewards that'll come out of the game from that moment will grow. Therefore player base will continue to grow. Therefore card sync into the land will grow. Therefore card appreciation will grow. And to me, it's all part of the greater life cycle of what Splinterlands is looking forward to across time here. But yeah, I think you're right. Cryptomancer is quietly doing it, and it did sound like it was like going to be quite delayed into next year. But if you think it's not going to happen, like if someone, not you, William, but if someone out there says land's dead, it's not going to happen, I just go, why do you say that? Is it because you're feeling disgruntled and you feel sentiment, weight in this moment? Or do you have some logical concern? Like you doubt Cryptomancer personally, or you doubt Matt? Like what is the logic? I don't really believe there's a logical concern for the critics in this moment. It's more of a sentiment shift or sentiment weight that's holding them. They're gathering. They talked about giving it backfire. Yeah, I thought so. Backfire. What about reflection? Reflection could be cool too. Hey, so you don't get, because you're gonna have that double strike, and so you can imagine killing yourself as you hit return fire, right? Reflection shield is such a great power. William, Mana Warden on Cerebus is good. Yeah, I bet it would be, because Cerebus doesn't have any sort of resiliency. It just has the self-heal. It's the same vibe with the Zenith Monk, William, because Zenith Monk, it has Void, but it doesn't have shield. It doesn't have, right? It's only got 8 hit points, I think, or 9. And so it's actually very similar to Cerebus, except for it's neutral. And it doesn't have retaliate. Anyways, 4 mana. Melee, self-heal. Gathering the Magic, Oscar in front. Oscar. Who's Oscar? Oh. Then you said Iziar. I wonder if you meant Iziar and then Oscar. Anyways, I don't know who Oscar is. If that was a typo. Alex, the Warden is good period. Yeah, it is. I wonder if you have the mana for it, of course. The thing about the Warden, I will double down on. I don't see a value for having a 400 BCX copy of that card. And I play it Diamond, Champion. Gathering would be cool if it was in front of a... If it was in the front... Would be cool if it was in the front, it gave shield to itself. Ah. It would be too small, though. That's the problem. It has too few hit points. So it can't be a main tank. It also can't, it doesn't really thrive in a sneak defense. It can work beside a taunt monster, and then when it's when it's behind a taunt monster, it itself can't hit with melee. So it's just, the kit is a bit weird. Now you can niche use it in every condition where melee can attack from any position, of course, but that's pretty niche. You're talking 3 or 4 rule sets. You know, equal opportunity, super sneak, melee from anywhere, and reach. Everyone gets reach. 4 different rule sets. And that's not nothing, but and you add, and 5th is when you implement flank. But again, one of the best ways to use it is just by using its shield buff and not even caring about its melee contribution. Alex, nah, I like that it gives another card shield. Yeah, me too. I really like, to me, shield, Mana Warden, another thing about that card, I actually love how it was doing what I was previously saying the team wasn't doing with card design. Let me try to say this really quickly because I don't want to re-summarize a bunch of things I've said over the last months. But one criticism I had about recent Rebellion card promo cards was that they weren't necessarily, or even the Soulbound reward cards, was that they weren't necessarily doubling down on some of the strengths of the respective elements, splinters. And so you had cards in Rebellion or within any of the modern cards that would be providing, that are interesting, valuable, powerful, and yet they weren't bettered, improved, radically transformed by the new Soulbound reward cards. And it would be really logical to make new Soulbound reward cards so interknit with the existing Rebellion cards that you suddenly really needed Rebellion cards because the new Soulbounds tied themselves to it. And I felt like Mana Warden or whatever his name was, did that. Like it actually, this card and its ability and its Shield Ward in particular, it actually really partners well with some of the Rebellion cards that exist. And in some of the modern cards, let's say, that exist. And so that's interesting card design in my opinion. And I wanted to give a little kudos there. I think you can just make new cards that have no connection with, no synergy with older cards, recent older cards, or you can be intentional about driving connection. How does this card closely connect with more recent cards? Flank, right? That's how. What else are you guys saying? Alex, how do you know we are? How do you know we are? Hello, people from the world. Venus, good to see you. Not this world, all world. Alex Toro, I like this. Bananas. Night Stalker looks pretty sweet. Absolutely. Guys, you guys are blowing up the chat. I'm trying to catch up. Bolts, what's up? Just thought I'd stop by and say hello. Working at work grinding. Appreciate you, man. I remember when I was a 9-to-5er, I would like throw on Splinterlands town halls or YouTube content and just like listen in the background while I was doing menial paper. So Bolts, thanks for popping by. Alex, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. Talking about some of yours is cross chat confuses me, but I'll keep going. Delia is going to be nasty. You think so? The double strike, I guess. You know, Delia reminded me of Axemaster. Remember Axemaster? Which is a great card. So that's I do like Delia. If there's any sense that I don't like Delia, it's not that. It's more like as compared to the first option. If I could only buy one of those promo cards, I would definitely want what's going on here? You do so. Oh, it's not melee. That's why. There she is. Or there he is. Axemaster. Double strike. Cripple. Close range. This card is so awesome. It's an old reward card. You got this. This card was free playing the game. I remember getting this card, like gold foil copies, and being like, whoa. Anyways, great old card. $50 for a max copy. Great old card. It reminds me a little bit of that Delia. Alex Toro, Sloan plus Runner plus Delia equal wrecked. Runner, yeah. And the Runner is such a great card. That's actually one of the most successful cards that have been recently released. Like, not so recently anymore, I guess. But look at Xbox data. This is Xbox data that shows Xbox card research data. This shows which cards have the greatest impact. Supply Runner, right there. Supply Runner is number 81 across all cards for having the greatest value score. The value score is the cost to its impact, and the ELO on it is, you know, if I don't know if I can I organize by this? There. Okay, I organized by this. Now let's find Supply Runner. So it's not right. Feels wrong somehow. Yeah, it's off. Somehow I can't quite. E to Z. Anyways, if I was to extract the data and put it in my own Excel sheet with my own data, I would be able to search that way, but it's not quite working that way. Regardless, it's one of the best cards ever, and that's borne out by my personal information too, or my personal battle history. Supply. There is. Oh, I see. Supply runner. Look at this. Number two most played card of all time. Of all time. And my data was tracked for 3 or 4 months. Maybe 6 months. Maybe I've had this service for 6 to 8 months even. I forget how long. But look at that. 1,000 battles I played with this card. It's got more than Almo Cambio. It's got more than Osher Constantia. It's got more than Bak Jira. Bak Jira? Supply runner is amazing. And then, yeah, to circle back to the fullness of your comment, adding that with Dahlia, which has double strike and would really take advantage of that speed, and the Sloan for the archery buff. I might also say, look at a Kane, the dragon summoner that gives you ambush, and you could put ambush on Dahlia, giving you 2 extra attacks in the round 0. And if archery can attack from the first position, which it can't always, but if it could because of rule sets, interesting. But definitely, Dahlia is good. Dahlia's good. Didn't you max out an Arcane for $30 plus? I think Tofu was way better than Arcane. You think Tofu is better than Arcane? Let's take a minute on that. I don't necessarily disagree with you, Toro, on this one, but I can tell you what I paid for my Arcane. I think it might have been $24 cards, because they track this now, which is cool. So first of all, what did I pay for Arcane? And then second of all, let's talk about Arcane's, what are these legendary rebellion summoners worth? Talk about that. So my Arcane, see, I bought it for $122. So here's the problem. Okay, so I bought 6 BCX for $200. So what's that? 199 divided by 6. So $33 per. And I think my other ones were about 28. So, okay. Yeah, you're mostly right. You're mostly right on the price point. And, but then I think you're right. You're wrong on the implication. What you're saying, what you seem to be implying, because rebellion, summoners, reg, ledge. So, I haven't implied that tofu's bad. And it seems like you're saying, like, you paid $30 for a cane and you're saying you're not going to pay 30 for tofu. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I probably will pay $30 for tofu. I'll pay even more for tofu. Right now I'm not buying tofu. In fact, I sold a few copies of tofu today, because I just wanted to buy other things. And sometimes it's not that you know this because you've been around. You don't just sell things because you hate them. You sell things for complicated reasons. Sometimes you sell things because the relative price seems to be at a high level. Sometimes you sell things because you want to buy something else more important. And with me, the other day, I sold some tofu because I only had 3 copies. And 3 copies isn't enough for me to meaningfully play with the card. So why would I hold on to 3 copies? I'm going to sell those and I'm going to buy other assets that are powerful, impactful, meaningful. And that's exactly what I did. I can't remember what I bought exactly, but I had about $100 out of that sale-ish. Maybe it was like $80, $90, something like that. I think I sold them for $25, $28 range. And I think I maybe sold a couple of cryptics. Again, not because I doubt cryptic, not because I don't doubt Lorcus. These guys are all awesome. I would love to have a max one of every one of these. But I'm not going to hold on to 1 or 2 BCX or 3 BCX. It doesn't make any sense. I would rather sell those for what I think is a reasonable price in order to buy other assets that people were being slept on. Over the last few weeks, I've seen alpha prices be really low. Over the last few weeks, I've seen beta prices be, some of the reward cards be really low. Some of the promos I was looking at Untamed, I saw Max Kitty being sold for $300 the other day, and I didn't buy it, but I should have, because now a Max Kitty is going to cost like closer $1,000 right there. And so my point is, sometimes you sell cards because you hate them, and sometimes you sell them just because the opportunity makes sense. And I couldn't use it. So it's not that I doubt tofu, and it's not that I don't want it. It's not that I won't pay. I'd probably pay more than $35 for it. But when I talked about the price earlier with respect to tofu, I was really saying I don't know. I'm not sure if it's worth 35 in this moment, because it might be worth 35 ultimately, but then you also have to look at if you're going to spend $350 on a brand new max legendary summoner, what could you do with $350? Could you buy 10 different cards that would increase your win rate at a greater level? If you don't, we already talked about you talked about it, in fact, the supply runner and how impactful a card like that is. Hazel, not now. Sorry, guys. My kiddo's at home sick today. Um, yeah. So, I mean, Supply Runner is not a summoner. It's not a, like on the surface, a card like Supply Runner is it's just a, an interesting archery unit, but clearly its impact because of its support mechanisms, the strength and the swiftness are so substantial and so meaningful that it has a huge impact on your win rates. And that's why things like Xbox card research data, as well as Splinter cards, can be really interesting, because you start to learn it's not just about the 10 summoners that might be the best in the game. It's about the 50 or 100 cards that are being overlooked. It's like Moneyball. You've seen the movie Moneyball. The idea that, you could throw money at the best cards in the game and you'll succeed. But it's even better if you understand what the best cards are for the best price. That's the game within the game of Splinterlands. I talk a lot about that, and I'm passionate about that because I don't think everybody gets that. So, yeah, Tofu's awesome. I love all these cards. I pulled 6 of the Elias Max Pruitts, and I really like it. I was tempted to sell it, but I got 6. I was tempted to sell it not because I don't like it. I love this card. I would rather, if I could, I probably would trade 6 of these for 6 of these, or 6 of these, which means in my mind, Elias is worse than some of these other summoners. I still don't have a great fondness for Cryptic. I would argue, this is pretty cool. The armor charge, or whatever it's called again, armor attack and the piercing, that would be neat. You get the armor and the damage. I like this card. I like them all. But if I had to organize them, and you said Tofu's better than a Kane, man, I use a Kane a lot. What's my win record on? So let's have a look at that. Okay, this isn't full data because for the last like 2 or 3 months I haven't been using. I haven't been tracking, but I'm paying for this service. I enjoy Splinter Coach data, but that's surprising. I actually think now that my data was probably behind my own picture, but you can see a Kane 72 and 90 is my record with a Kane. 444 win rate. That's not a very good win rate. And so it's my number 17th summoner. I wonder if the data would be more full if I had been tracking for these last few weeks and months, because I definitely didn't know how to use it initially. I think I win with it a fair bit. I use it a lot. I feel like I use it a lot. Have I used it in my last 20 battles? Go into modern. Yeah, I've been using Drath a lot too. In a Kane battle. Okay. Anyways, this is a bit anecdotal regardless what this will show. I do like a Kane. I really find the double ambush is very helpful. I don't know if I would go so far as to say it's my favorite any longer. I use Drath a lot with the True Strike, because there's often 2 monsters I bring that are gonna miss. Like you bring a Dr. Blight and your opponent has a phase tank with great speed. Good luck. But now True Strike on my Dr. Blight, or True Strike on like a some slower melee monsters that might gain steam if they can just hit their shots. And I love the archery buff. So I use Drath a lot. I use the Kane a lot. I will use Tofu a lot when I get it. I have a level 3 on the Pruitt, but probably, I might just rent that or something, because frankly, level 3 is not going to be good enough for me to usually play. So that's a bit of my thoughts on these. These cards are awesome. I might like Nidhogger the most now, but I of course like this is, you know, tofu is awesome. The scavenge triage is great. What an awesome kit. The extra 2 hit points is huge. This 3 holy shield sounds pretty juicy. I really like that rare monster from the life splinter, that summoner that gives you the divine shield, all your monsters. And so I like tofu. I was saying tofu would be good before anybody else did, and then they added thorns, and that made it even better. And so I like tofu. I just don't have it yet, and it probably is better than it came because it's got more. It's got more to offer though, right? This has just ambush or lookout, and it's only 2 ambushes versus, you know, you can do 3 of the divine shields in the rust or armor, whatever it's called, corrosion, and one of these, which is awesome. And then you get this as well. So if a Kane had some global buff, you know, that's more comparable. This is kind of like saying, like this card at 5 mana is a totally different card than that card. So, anyways, I like them all. And I got to wrap up here pretty quick here, guys. So I'm going to try and just acknowledge some names in the chat. I wish I saw this sooner. Dehota said, Dwayne, what's your opinion on should we do a Rebellion mini set or not? Matt discussed it. You know what I'll do is I'll make a video on that, pal. Because I agree. It's a Rebel set. That's an important question. And I do have some thoughts, but I can't properly explain it now. NFO Guides, good to see you, pal. Axley Twin Blade. Yeah, thanks, man. Oski, good to see you, bud. No set at all. No set at all until the new player experience and marketing are rolling. Hopefully, we then the token prices have increased substantially. Until then, hopeful thinking. Yeah, they said a little bit in the town hall about how they hope that the two coincide. Marketing comes on and sort of really gains traction in a moment when the new set is coming. And probably that would mean no mini set. And Matt even said that that probably means, or that would point us toward, you know, let's not do a mini set. That was what Matt said. And so many good, there's at least 30 other comments here, guys. Just thank you for coming to hang out. NFO Guides, Dehota, Alex, Oscu, Gathering, King Remidius. Guys, you're awesome. I appreciate William. Bananas, you guys are awesome. I thank you for hanging out. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you enjoy the content, drop the likes, share the content, and yeah, if you want more members only content, which this morning there was an hour live that went just members only, check out the members page on my channel and get involved. You're awesome. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.